tonight. Welcome. Right on. Great. Hey. Raise your hand again because I missed the back. Yeah, good. Okay. My name is Chandra Easton. I'm here every Tuesday night. This is my weekly class. It's a drop-in Dharma class with meditation, chanting. Sometimes we do a little bit of movement, but not like a full-on yoga class, you know. I mean, you're good in your jeans if you need to be. I don't do movement every time, but I try to do a little bit. And so Dharma talk, meditation, chanting, sometimes a little bit of movement. I call it mantra, movement, and meditation. And so I hope you find it as well. And usually what we do is spend some time exploring topics around Buddhism, primarily Mahayana and Vajrayana Buddhism, but all the different vehicles. We've been exploring a text, and you were given a handout that has some of the pith slogans or instructions pertaining to this text called the 7-point mind training. The 7-point mind training. And so we're going through this every week. We do one slogan, usually on average. And so tonight we're on the 45th slogan. We'll talk a bit about that after we practice. Good. All right. So what I would like to do is begin with our prayers. So if you have your chant sheet, we'll do the top 2 prayers. I want to do 7 of each. So we'll do 7 of the Sharana prayer, the Narayani prayer there. And then we'll do 7 of the Ganesha. And we'll chant the Ganesha mantra for just a little bit after that. And then I want to do the Tara mantra. And the Tara mantra, there's a few different options, but I want to do the kind of the shorter one tonight, which is simply Om Namo Aryatara. I don't think it's on the chant sheet, but it's really simple. Om Namo Aryatara. You can repeat after me. Om Namo Aryatara. Good. It means Om, I honor Tara. Yeah, it's not on this sheet because it's so short. So before we do any chanting, let's drop in and allow the eyes to close and listen to the sound of the tambura. Let the sound waves wash over you and through you, calming the mind, calming the nervous system. Take some deep breaths and release any tension with the out-breath, the body, the emotional body, the mental body. Take a moment to arouse our heartfelt motivation for practice and coming together tonight. This common motivation in Buddhism is called bodhicitta, the aspiration or the hope, the wish to awaken for the benefit of yourself and all beings. Bodhicitta, the mind of awakening, the spirit of awakening. And really let that be a personal prayer for you. Even internalize it by saying it, your own unique prayer now. It's your motivation for practice. And we enter into practice with a spirit of gratitude, a greater attitude for our biological and also our spiritual ancestry, all of these elements within our being that have brought us here to this very moment, together practicing in community. Your teachers, your guides, your mentors, your family, your sangha, and also giving thanks and gratitude to the earth upon which we sit, we practice, sustains us, supports us, provides a sense of continuity in our life. And acknowledging the land that we're on, presencing ourselves and situating ourselves in this moment here in Berkeley, the Liz John Ohlone Indigenous land, giving thanks and gratitude to those who've come before and who continue to steward the land and the waterways. So now we'll chant to Narayani. We can think of her as the great mother, the great goddess, Shakti, the protectress. Feel free to read along or read the English below the Sanskrit. I'll call and respond, and you respond. And then we'll do 7 together. Sharanagata dinartha, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute, Sharanagata dinartha, Paritrana parayane, Sarvasyarti hare devi, Narayani namostute. Now chanting to Ganesha in the spirit of requesting the elephant-headed god to obliterate all obstacles to our path of liberation, of justice, of enlightenment, supreme freedom, and also obstacles to learning and integration. Oh, Ganesha, remover of obstacles, please bless us. I'll call and you can respond. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. I'm going to slow down. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Vakratunda Mahakaya, Surya Koti Samaprabha, Nirvignam Kuru Me Deva, Sarvakaryeshu Sarvada. Om Ganganapataye Namaha, Om Gam Ganapataye 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 Namaha. 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 Om Namo Aryatara. 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 Om Namo Aryatara, 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 Om Namo Aryatara. And now slowly let's open our eyes and come back into the space together for some movement. You can reach your arms overhead and let's go ahead and stand up and stretch our legs. Move a little bit before we do our sit. I'll guide some movement, but of course, please, as always, feel free to do whatever feels good for you, okay? So you can veer off and do your own thing. I'm going to invite you to just raise your arms overhead and release them. Reach up, extend through the spine, then exhale. Inhale, reach up, and exhale, release. Good, good, good. All right, so what I like to do are exercise is called the Dasha Chalanam, which is called the 10 churnings in English, Dasha Chalanam in Sanskrit. We start with the feet, and it's nice to create circulation in the feet because when we sit a lot, we get stagnant in the lower body. So I can show you from the side. All you're doing is putting the foot a little bit behind you. A lot of the folks in the front row have come a bunch, so you could follow these guys too. But the right foot will step back, the weight on the top of the toes, root into the left standing leg, stand up nice and tall, and then start to rotate the ankle, make circles. So you're stimulating the toes, the ankle, and then the spiraling movement goes all the way up through the body and the crown of the head even. The arms are down by your side, and then reverse. So this starts to move the blood, the lymph, circulation in the lower body. You see these types of movements in South Indian dance, martial arts, Qigong, Tai Chi as well. Good. Okay, so do the other side. Left foot back. Put a little weight on the toes and make sure you're a little bit behind. Yeah. Don't be right under the hip. And then start by rotating outward. And really feel the head of the femur and the ball of the socket of your hip. Rotating, loosening up. Yeah, good. It can help to have a focal point for balance and reverse. Just breathing naturally. If you know Ujjayi breath, go ahead and do that yogic breathing. Otherwise, just kind of have an even in and out breath. Having done the feet, now we come up to the head and we work our way down the body. Okay? First move is with the neck. So the chin draws down. If you can, make circles with the neck, like you're drawing a circle on a mirror with your nose in front of you. If you have neck sensitivity issues, that's fine. You can also do a variation of just forward and back, side to side. So just do whatever's good for you. We'll do a couple more rounds. And relax the jaw. And breathe. Breathe deep down into the feet. If you can draw the breath down into the feet. Reverse. Other direction. Good. Shoulders relax, the jaw, the face soft, the belly receives the breath as you breathe in and out. Last round. And coming around to center. Then inhale, the face to neutral. Exhale. Now we do the shoulders. Forward, up, back and down. 1, 2, 5, 6, 7. We'll do 10 reps now from here on out. And then reverse, back, up, forward, and down. 1. Good. Making sure not to build tension in the shoulders. So if you need to make the circles smaller, you can do that. And one more. Good. Then bring the hands interlaced in front of the face. And it feels like the heater's on. Is Hannah in here? Somebody check the heater. Who's our volunteer for the night? Thanks. I mean, it's okay to have it on a little bit. Is it set at 72? And then reverse. Relax the ridge of the shoulders. That's it. And then release the hands down. Now spiral the arms to the right, the left, so you're moving through the spinal column, spiraling, twisting. So the front hand taps the front part of the chest where the shoulder meets the chest. The back hand taps the kidney points, the lower bottom ribs. The front tap stimulates the lung function. The back tap stimulates the kidney function. Feel free to sigh if that feels good. You might feel like what's interesting is when you really get quiet and kind of listen and feel this movement, the movement kind of squeezes and releases the lungs, and it's like it breathes the lungs itself just by moving. And last couple here to the right and to the left. Now release the arms down and then circle the hips to the right. 1, 2, and let the whole upper body be loose, kind of drunk, like arms are relaxed, the face is soft, the chest is soft. Making circles with your tailbone in the earth. You can imagine that. And then reverse. That's it, good. And please veer off and do your own thing at any time. If you feel like you want to do something else, that's okay too. We're almost done with this. Now, last circle. Then step the feet together. And then bend the knees from the back of the knees forward. So as deep of a bend as you can. The hands are on the thighs right above the knees. Lengthen the back of the neck. Look down to the floor and draw the shoulders away from the ears. Now make circles with the knees. 1, 2, 3, 4. Keep the heels on the floor. So this also stimulates the ankles too. This practice is found within a style of yoga I did for many years and taught for a long time called shadow yoga, chaya yoga. Now reverse. You might be feeling a little heat in the legs. That's good. Make you more comfortable when you sit. And last one, come on up. Now the last movement is to do a wave through the whole spine. I'm not going to do it. I'm healing a spine injury, so I can't do all these movements. But basically what you're going to do is you're going to bend the knees and then shift the weight from back to front and then ripple up through the spine like a wave that travels from the base of the feet all the way up to the crown of the head. Keep going. 3, 4. You close your eyes and get into it. Don't even worry. Nobody's watching you. I'm not watching you. Feel like you're seaweed in the ocean, swaying to and fro in the water. Main point is to feel like you're getting massaged through the column, the vertebral column, the spine. Last couple. Good. Inhale now. Arms reach overhead again. And then let them go. Inhale. One more time. Inhale. Exhale. Good. Now make fists and then pound your shoulders. Up and then heavy weight drop. Pounding the tension out of the shoulders. Good. Last one more. Boom. And now inhale, fold the arms in, and then exhale, make a bah, like a sheep bowing. Okay. And really okay, so I never really break this down, but I want to tell you about it. So it's actually a very cool move that's done both in the Tibetan yogas and in Hatha yoga too. You're shaking out your whole chest. So you want to shake your lungs, shake your heart, shake your chest. So when you bah, you really shake it out like samba or whatever. Okay, so we're going to do it 3 times. Inhale, fold in. Exhale. Bah. That's it. Good. Inhale. Bah. And last time. Inhale. Exhale. Bah. Right. Inhale. Exhale. And then now we can alight upon your lily pad like a fall leaf falling to the earth. Find a comfortable seat. And of course, I always welcome you to find a supine position if that's more appropriate for you. The Buddha taught lying down is a viable meditation posture. So in a chair, in a cushion, most important is that you're comfortable. The knees are safe, the hips are supported. And before you close your eyes, we're going to do one more kind of fun little exercise. So another common practice in the Tibetan tradition is to let the arms flop and the hands kind of slap the thighs. Inhale, and then exhale. This helps us relax. Inhale, let go of tension in the shoulders. That feeling that you get when you've dropped it all, that relaxation. Inhale, and then exhale. And then let that take you into meditation now. So we'll begin with the eyes closed. It's a way to fold inward and bring the attention to the inner tapestry, your body, mind. This may be the first time you've turned inward today, so take a moment and just feel the simple quality of being present in the moment before any technique. This simple, bare attention, quality of presence. And for some, this is enough. Just letting everything go and resting in this very moment, moment to moment, with whatever arises. Resting stabilized within your samadhi. And yet, for a lot of people, most of us, we tend to drift, and we may need some support to stay. And that is what the Buddha taught with the breath awareness. The breath is your anchor. So feel the flow of the breath moving in and out of your body, maintaining this feeling of simple presence, uncomplicated. If the breath is short, just simply, but let it be short. If it's long, let it be long. The Buddha teaches us to simply observe whatever is here without needing to fix it, change it. Releasing distraction as soon as you notice it, pulling you out of the moment. Release with the out-breath, like you're letting go of a tight grip. Soften and then come back to the flow of the breath. Sensations in the body. And let this attention and this intention be a gentle, soft, and loving offering that you give yourself. And you might even feel the simplicity of distraction being a tightening and focused, concentrated awareness is a relaxing. So when we're lost in thought, there's a quality of gripping or grasping. So with the out-breath, remind yourself, all I have to do is let go. Release the grip. And release into the present moment awareness as the breath flows in and out. Or you may feel thought simply as movement, and the awareness that pervades thought, feeling, sensation as stillness. It's simply movement when the mind is grasping and thinking and evaluating. All that is movement of the mind, like the wind moving in space. And awareness is the space that holds the movement, within which the movement occurs. Can you rest in the stillness? And not the movement. You may observe the movement, but you don't take it for a ride. You sit back, release and relax in that vast, spacious awareness that pervades the movement, that holds the movement. Like space holds the wind. Movement and stillness, that's all it is. And taking a step further into the practice, Now, mindfulness of the mind itself, the domain of the mind, becomes our anchor. And we do this phase of the practice by gently opening the eyes, gazing at a comfortable angle towards the floor. Relax the muscles behind and around the eyes. And without staring or focusing on anything in particular, simply rest your awareness in the space in front of you as if the domain of the mind pervades beyond the confines of the skin. And rest the mind in stillness, attending to the domain of the mind itself, that space within which the movement arises and passes. It's as if you're doing the impossible. You're stabilizing your awareness within space. Releasing distraction as soon as you notice, meaning anything that pulls you out of this present moment. And return to this experience of awareness, open, vast like space. And if the eyes grow tired, feel free to blink them and then gently open again. Relax the muscles of the face, the jaw. The base of the skull, the throat. Let the breath be natural. Allow the mind to settle in its natural state, free of grasping, free of distraction, limpid, wakeful awareness. It's so simple, you miss it. It's like the air we breathe. This awareness that pervades all of our experience. This awareness, when we find it, we feel, we sense, we experience the bliss, luminosity, the qualities of our primordial awareness. Your birthright. Release into presence. the nature of your own mind. And from time to time, ask, who is meditating? What is this consciousness that concentrates and then releases the mind? Ask and then observe and release and rest in that experience that ensues. Can you find an agent called the mind? Look and then release and rest. Release into presence. Bliss, emptiness, commingling. The mind is lost in thought. Release distraction as soon as you notice. And then ask, who is concentrating? Who is releasing? Turn, look. Awareness looks at itself. And then release. The not finding is the finding. Now gently close the eyes again and come back home to the breath as the primary focal point. And yet maintain this feeling of spaciousness. As if your awareness filled the entire room. And can you taste the non-duality of the inner and the outer? And now release all effort of meditation. Just let yourself be in non-meditation. Spacious path to freedom. And take a moment to stretch your legs, your arms. So coming right out of practice, if you want, any questions, observations? Yes. Maybe speak loud so people can.
Okay, yes. I was struck by a notion that had me a little bit lost in thought. But what I was contemplating is, the vexing questions. Where is the speaker? Where's the observer?
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
And I was focused on that and realizing that it seemed to be placeless kind of by its essence. And
Placeless?
Spaceless,
placeless, without
a place,
yeah.
Because
can you guys hear his question? Good, okay.
I'm talking about an overlay between the material realm and the immaterial realm.
Mm-hmm,
And
mm-hmm,
somehow there's a link between
mm-hmm,
consciousness and mentality, materiality.
mm-hmm,
They're not separated fully.
mm-hmm.
And the links, the 12 links of dependent origination. So
Yeah.
what is happening? And I feel like that mind sense,
Mm.
that sixth, that mind
Mm-hmm,
is immaterial. It's coming from the immaterial
mm-hmm,
world. So
mm-hmm,
it's the place where, set theory lives and horoscopes and pure possibilities.
mm-hmm.
It's where all our models come from, but
Mm-hmm.
it's a different realm.
Yeah. 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 Is there a question in there? Or is that more of an observation? It's a deep observation. I just want to make sure
I don't
off.
know that there's an answer to that, but
There's
if
not.
it's
I don't know if there is either. But
definitely wrong, let me know.
no, consciousness from the Buddhist Abhidharma, Buddhist philosophy, psychology perspective, consciousness is not material. It is not material. And that's why continuity of consciousness doesn't stop when the body stops working. So that is the rationale. If the consciousness were simply an epiphenomena of the brain, then when the brain stops working, then consciousness would disappear.
But doesn't it, isn't there a teaching
Well,
that the consciousness can return, but it's dependent and conditioned on the material?
so I guess it depends. We need to make sure we're defining our terms, and that when we say consciousness, we're talking about the same thing. Because there's continuity of awareness or continuity of consciousness, yes, but like there's like, you could, for lack of a better word, there's the spirit that goes from one life to the next, and that is immaterial. It's even like the Bardo body is said to be, it's immaterial, but it's like prana. It's like a subtle pranic body that technically doesn't go anywhere, but it isn't housed. It can't be supported by the material body anymore, so it leaves and then wanders in the bardo until it's time to be reborn. But if you're also talking about consciousness more with a little c as well, that is dependent upon our sense organs and the sense objects, then there's the third aspect, which is the consciousness that arises. And I think that's what you're talking about in terms of the 12 links of interdependence. He's talking about Buddhist philosophy, talking about like, why are we born and die, and what happens in between, from birth until old age and death, grasping, craving, perception, because of the sense objects coming into contact with the sense organs, and then there's a consciousness that arises. So yes, that kind of consciousness is dependent upon the material sense organs, your eyeball, the retina, and so on. Okay. So yes, there is an interdependence there, absolutely. Dependent origination, tendril, pratita samutpada, right? Interdependence. So my voice is dependent upon your ears hearing my voice, right? Otherwise, it's not Chandra's voice. It's just sound waves moving from this vantage point to that vantage point. So everything is dependently arising. Nothing exists in and of itself from its own side, independent of perception of it as well. Perception is a very important aspect of understanding interdependence and emptiness, especially from the Madhyamaka Prasangika philosophical perspective, which is like the pinnacle of the middle way, Mahayana philosophical teachings, is taught by Nagarjuna in his Mula Madhyamika Karika. So this is deep. This question that you're asking is really a gold mine of stuff. And I mean, someday we might even take some of his writings and study this in this class. I've actually been thinking about that because I have some old notes and teaching lecture notes and material that I would love to bring to this class around interdependence and emptiness, and what is it, and how do we realize it. And there's so many cool things. There's even a mantra about it. We could chant a mantra, the interdependence mantra. Om ye dharma hetu prabhava hetun tetun tathagata hayawada tekan sayoniroda ewa mari mahashamanaya soha. I usually say it super fast, so when I say it slow, I stumble. But that is a mantra that is said to be one of the first mantras ever recited within Buddhism, and it wasn't actually the Buddha. It was one of his primary students, Shariputra was a wandering ascetic who asked one of the Buddha's primary disciples, Buhija or something like that, what is this Muni, this sage's, Muni means sage, what is this famous sage's teaching? And this disciple said to Shariputra, this mantra, Om Ye, he didn't say Om, it was Ye Dharma Hetu Prabhava. It's a teaching on because this exists, that exists. Because that exists, this exists. You know, simple teaching like the Buddha gave an analogy of interdependence as two stalks of grass leaning up against each other. You know, they're dependent upon each other. When one falls, the other falls. It seems so simple, but it's a kind of a picture of how we can imagine, dependent. Everything's dependent on everything else. And so that is a mantra that teaches that core teaching of the Buddha. And you could learn it and recite it. And that mantra also is said to be a mantra that helps to purify any prayers or mantras that we've recited in that session, in that practice session. We say that mantra at the end to kind of like clean up any mispronunciation, any mess we might have made, any mistakes. It's an interesting thing. It's very common in the Tibetan tradition. So there are a lot of really cool, and then there's the 12 links, and there's all sorts of really cool stuff that we could go into with that. So it's interesting that you asked that question because I was just thinking about that yesterday. I don't know if that answers your comment. Sure. Well, it wasn't even a question. Yeah, I mean, it's philosophy. I mean, I really feel like Buddhist philosophy, especially the Madhyamaka philosophy, is the most exquisite philosophy I've ever studied and ever practiced. And it's not just an intellectual masturbation. It like actually leads you to realization. I mean, I don't think those Western philosophers can hold a candle to that. They tried. Right? Weber, Heidegger, Kant. I mean, there's some good stuff there, but I would read that at the university and go,
all the good parts they stole.
And they stole it anyway. I know. There's the theory that there's some, yeah. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Yes. Yeah, that's Springer. Thanks. I'm so glad you're back because you're the only one who passes around the microphone. When Carson's not here, you need to do it. It's not even on. Hey. Maybe the battery died. Oh well. You're going to have to stand up and sit in front of the whole group.
Well, so like last week, you were talking to someone about like it's better to have shorter but better quality sits.
Yeah.
So I kind of, actually what I've been doing, my normal meditation for months has been like a fairly long sit, like maybe 50 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
But it's like the first half is so, it's like, it feels like kind of almost a waste because it seems like I'm totally rattled and then it's not really till the end that it seems to really get good. And so part of me was like, kind of had this motivation to have a more focused meditation. And I did this experiment where I did like 12 minutes of focus, then 12 minutes of like not trying to focus, and then 12 minutes of focus, and then 12 minutes of not trying to focus, and came to the realization that it didn't actually make any difference. So like the quality, just what was going on in each 12 minutes seemed to be the same regardless of whether I was trying to focus.
So it's just the luck of the draw.
Yeah,
if you get a sweet spot.
But one thing that I also did notice is that when I had the intention at the very beginning to, okay, I'm not going to just wait till the end for this to be a serious meditation. I'm going to do it now. I did pay attention.
Mm.
Like I did notice that there were some sort of sound, I almost want to call them mental sounds. It's sort of like the echoey chants, that sort of an omi sort of sound that sometimes pops up in my head, that it was accessible to me at the beginning of my sit. I didn't have to like wait the whole time to do it.
Yeah.
But anyway, I don't know if that's a question. It was just an observation about that.
Yeah, thank you for sharing that. And I'm glad you're testing these things out. That's the sign of a good, good student, a good practitioner. You're really listening, and then you're trying it out for yourself at home. And I hope everybody does that type of thing. So thank you. And it's very commonly taught that if we can sit down with as much clarity and determination to not let the mind stray into distraction from the get-go, we will have we have a fighting chance. We have more of a chance to have the concentrated, fruitional, beneficial type of sit. If we sit down sort of with a bit of a, we're not really that focused, or we just, I don't know, we lack clarity or motivation, but we're doing it anyway, then it's harder to get it later in the sit. It's easier to get concentration, shamatha, concentrated mind, if we can start off the session with clarity and focus. Because you understand what I'm saying? So it makes sense what you just said in terms of, if you started off well, then you could access it early on, right? And then maybe it dwindled. So what if you knew you only had 12 minutes to sit, not 12, 12, 12, and 12?
Right, that was actually my first experiment.
What would that be like?
My first experiment, I actually said 12 minutes, just 12 minutes.
Yeah.
And that was when I noticed that there was that sort of omi, like, or maybe it wasn't maybe it's some other chant. The sound of some chant. It could have been a very catchy chant, actually. It could have been like the Namo Tassa, whatever, something like, like it.
So something came to you that felt like a blessing, or like you had this feeling.
It did, and so then that's when I tried like a 24-minute one, and then I'm like, I don't really know if this is better than just what I was doing before. I feel like I kind of wanted to go for longer too.
Yeah.
And then that's when I did the 12 alternating ones. And I guess if I had a question, it would be like, part of me was wondering if maybe the resolution to be more focused is something that is more of like a cumulative thing, like maybe something I have, if I made a more regular daily dedication to that, is it maybe something that will catch up over time?
Yeah, you build momentum. It's like developing a muscle. It's like going to the gym. It's not very complicated, actually. Concentration, concentrated mind. You have to put in the time and repetition to get it. So if you can even pepper your day with like 2 or 3 12-minute sessions, just give that a try. So instead of just like only give yourself 1 12-minute a day, since you like to sit and you're dedicated to your practice, maybe you could do one in the morning, do one around lunchtime, do one before bed, and see what that feels like. See if you can really sustain your object of meditation, whether it's the breath or the mind itself or a mantra, whatever it is that you are practicing. See if you can really hold it without wavering for that 12 minutes. You're going to be better off in the long run than spacing out for 15 minutes, which I know you're not doing that for the whole 15 minutes, but maybe. Do you know what I'm saying? Like we need to be very careful, people, not to practice dullness, because you are cultivating dullness. I don't mean to like scare you, but I kind of want to. Like, I need to be scared. You know, when I heard that early on, I was like, oh, right. You know, meditation isn't just relaxation. It's not just stress relief. It's supposed to lead us to liberation, you know? And so it's better, what I said last week for the newer folks, it's better to have frequent, shorter sits of good quality than one long sit. So if even just a few 5-minute sessions a day, better than like one big long, you know, hour-long sit in the morning or whatever. So yeah, keep playing with it and focus on that, what I just said. Okay?
Thank you.
Yeah. Okay, great. Yeah, I was going to get to the 45th slogan. Do we want to do that? Yeah, I can do it in 7 minutes. It's not that complicated. So, can somebody read the 45th slogan from the handout? And by the way, you can keep that handout, but if you're new, you might not know that. You can keep any of these handouts, take them home. Somebody read the 54th loud and proud. 45th.
Take on the three principal causes.
Take on the three principal causes. It's an interesting translation. There's another translation. Here we go. Way too many papers here. So, take on the three principal causes. Another potential translation could be foster three key elements. And I feel like that's a little bit better for the meaning of what they're talking about here. So, for the people who are new, these are like one-liners that help us integrate Dharma into our life. We're in this section where it's really like integrating the teachings into your daily life and into your practice life too. So the three key elements, or the three principal causes, are number one, a good teacher, having a good teacher. It's all within the context of Dharma. You could say guru or lama in Tibetan, but teacher's fine, because guru has a lot of baggage too sometimes. So the first is having a good teacher. The second is having a workable mind. Having a mind that's pliant, it's workable, it's open. The third is having suitable conditions for Dharma practice. So these are what are called these three key elements to a successful life filled with practice that's coming to fruition. So the teacher, the Buddha even said this, the teacher is like a physician. Buddha said, I'm like a doctor, and I'm the Dharma's medicine. And people wandering in samsara, suffering because of impermanence and grasping and ignorance and all of these things, are like patients coming for healing. And so a teacher is like a physician, also in the sense where the teacher checks in on you. How are you doing? Takes your pulse, listens to your lungs, asks you how you're feeling, checks in on how are you doing. And it's somebody you should trust and be able to ask questions to, and kind of lay it all out. And then the teacher can help make adjustments. So it's really wonderful if you can find a good teacher like that in your life. It's not easy to find. For me, I went all the way to India looking for my guru when I was 23. And sure, I got to study with His Holiness the Dalai Lama, but he wasn't a guru that I could actually talk to. I had to come all the way back home to find my teacher, Alan Wallace, for so long, and then Lama Tsultrim, and I have other teachers as well. But that was the big irony. Okay, so then the other thing about the teacher is a teacher will point out, ideally, a good teacher has a lot of different things I want to say, but the main purpose of the teacher is to inspire, is to teach you Dharma, but all getting to this kind of peak experience of introducing you to the nature of your own mind. Introducing you to the nature of your own mind. So point out your Buddha nature. and then help you realize it. The teacher's not giving you something that you didn't have before. Buddha nature, we all have it. It's like the seed of awakening, a spark of illumination we all have within us. It's your birthright. Every sentient being has Buddha nature, even an insect, an animal, sentience. Anything that has sentience has Buddha nature. That's why we try not to kill, take life. Okay? Respect that. It's not the only reason, but. And so this birthright, this is called primordial wisdom. Primordial wisdom. I mentioned it in the meditation. Do you remember? It's your own, it's consciousness that it doesn't have beginning, but it's this capital C consciousness or awareness, Rigpa. It's called primordial because it's beyond birth and death. The term is literally Yene Shepa. Ye is primordial, Ne is from, Shepa is consciousness or awareness. So it's awareness from the beginning, meaning beginningless. That's another way of saying it. And so a teacher helps you experience it and then realize it and stabilize it and gain confidence in that realization. And if any teacher is on a power trip and says, oh, without me, you won't realize it, or you have to bow down to me, and pulls a power trip on you, calm down. Because they're obviously not operating from their Buddha nature themselves and their compassion. So teachers must have bodhicitta. They must have compassion, and they must walk the talk. So don't just give yourself to any teacher. When you're looking for a teacher, Buddhist teachings say, take your time. If you find someone who seems worthy, study with them for 3 years. Check them out. You're checking them out. Like you're checking me out. I'm not saying I want to be a guru. I'm not a guru. I'll be your teacher. I'll be your friend, Kalyana Mitra. But I'm just saying, check them out. It's on you to check me out. Check. Ask questions. Whoever else you study with, check them out. Watch them. Do they walk the talk? Do they have bodhicitta? Do they have compassion? Are they transmitting something? Or are they just mouthing the words? And if it feels good and after 3 years you like what you see, then you tell them, I'd like to study with you. Will you be my teacher? And if they feel good about you, they'll say, okay, and now I get to check you out for 3 years. Are you a dedicated student? Are you really putting the teachings into practice? Are you really chewing on it and assimilating it? Are you just, as one of my yoga teachers, Chandra, say, are you a shopper? There's a lot of shoppers. A lot of shoppers. Are you a shopper? You know what I'm saying? Spiritual materialism, spiritual marketplace. A little bit of this, a little bit of this, and I'm going to make my own lineage. I start teaching and I'm only 25. Don't start teaching too early, it'll ruin your practice. Dharma is about practicing, not about becoming a teacher. Okay, so then if the teacher likes what they see for 3 years, then you watch each other for another 3 years. 9 years total. You might not do this whole span of time, but at least that gives you a perspective of like, okay, well, slow it down. Like, don't get engaged after dating for a month. There's no rush. That 9 years is more about like when you're really going to choose a tantric guru, because a lot more is at stake in the tantra land. The land of Tantra. It's a dangerous path.
Why is it dangerous?
We're at time. Next week, there's the cliffhanger. It's a dangerous path. Come back next week
I want to know more.
for part 2 of true crime in the Tantra world. A lot of Shakti comes from the practices, there's transgressive practices of sexual union, there's, wine and meat and, in the traditional forms of Tantra, it's a path of alchemy. And if you don't have your heart in the right place, if the teacher doesn't have their heart in the right place, then there's a lot of opportunity for a shit show to ensue. Power abuse, sexual abuse, confusion, you can go off. So they say like Tantra is like walking on the razor's edge or the knife's blade, but you can attain liberation in one lifetime. Instead of the 3 countless eons promised in the Mahayana Sutras. So it sounds appealing. That's why you need a good teacher. Somebody who will do right by you. So you check them out. Check them out. So we'll keep going with this. We'll talk about workable mind and suitable conditions for practicing Dharma. Those are good things to think about too. But I think this is a good place to end. Let's take a moment to dedicate the merit of our study, contemplation, meditation, these 3 phases of developing wisdom. Study, contemplation, and meditation, bringing us to realization. We dedicate any positive merit or energy that's come from this time together for the benefit of all beings everywhere. May justice pervade our space-time continuum. Om Tari Tutari Ture Daha Pacha Hom Pat Swaha. Justice Tara. May her blessings rain down on all of us. Thank you, everybody. Have a good evening. I'll sit up here for a few more minutes if you want to come and introduce yourself. If you're new, I especially like to meet with some new folks, or if you have a question. Also, there's tea out there. Feel free to hang out and make some new Dharma friends. A couple announcements I forgot to make. I'm reading Hannah's mind from the other room. This weekend, Sunday, from 1 to 4 is cacao, sound bath, and nature of mind transmission. No, I'm kidding. There's a third thing, and I can't remember what it is. They tend to sell out ahead of time, so if you're planning on going, please sign up early. And then the week of Thanksgiving, I will not be here, so don't come. We will not have class the week of Thanksgiving. Okay? Tuesday before Thanksgiving. Okay, good night, everybody. Thank you. Thank you. God, those knees.
Every year it's a little bit harder to stand.
No, I didn't think so. No, you don't. That's why I asked, because I was like, I had the 50-year-old knee the other day. I was like, oh God.
No, I can still do it, but it's a little bit more creaky.
No, I can say 45.
It's good, yeah.
Thanks for the bookmark. Oh, you guys, don't do that.